And so one thing that I've always loved doing, even in my finance days before real estate, was that you have to be a hunter and you have to go out there and actually look for business. If you don't, and you always rely on either paid sources or something else, you're always going to be at the whims of the market. And so if it goes down, then your production goes down. But if you stay in the game 5 days a week and you're consistently generating business, what was that saying that they said, like, whenever you generate, you can, you don't have to tolerate, right? And so it's so true.
It's that time. Welcome to Roadmap, how to take 3 listings a week until you're ready for more. Each week we interview a great agent who's consistently taking several listings each month. And we have an exciting guest today. We encourage you to take notes and apply as much of their knowledge as quickly as you can, and then use the
copycat
principle. All right, let me introduce my co-host from beautiful Camp Dennison, Ohio, Sarah Close. Hi,
Thanks
Sarah.
for having me. Happy to be here.
How's the real estate
Thank
business?
You. Real estate business is great.
Good. And Sarah has the joy of having 550, 560 agents, something like that. Where are you?
Yeah, we're just under 550 with the three market centers. So
we
got all the good ones. So
all the good ones. And
exactly.
And you have a team. And what's the goal for the team this year?
The goal for the team this year is 250 units.
Good. And Sarah practices what we all preach, and that's being on the listing side of this business and calling and taking listings.
Absolutely.
And ringing the register. Isn't that right?
It is.
All righty.
Good to be on offense.
So let's introduce our guest today from beautiful Hoboken, New Jersey, Dean Clark. Welcome, Dean.
Thank you for having me.
Great to meet you, Dean. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
We're going to have some fun today. When you look at, it's easier to list property. And Dean has gone through the process of, spending most of his time on that side of the business. So we're going to learn a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Dean, so kind of start us off. Tell us a little bit about your path to the field of real estate and what that's looked like since you've been part of the crew here, and kind of how your business has evolved during that time as well.
Absolutely. So I was on a team as a buyer's agent actually for the first about 6 years or so of my career, just doing whatever it took to just put a deal together. And then when I left that team about 5 years ago in 2017, I was with Coldwell Banker before. I went to Remax here in Hoboken, and I was on my own before a coach. And this was, just kind of me figuring it out. But I did what I did before, what I knew, which was like paying for leads and just working buyers. And that's pretty much all I knew. But then I went on my own. I had no coach at all. And so I always consistently did, about on my own for the first 2 years from 2017, 18, I did about, from like 22 to 25 million production. That was like kind of like my, thing, but I never could break a certain transaction amount. For some reason, it was always like in my head. So I said, well, who would be the best way to increase that production and go a different level? And so obviously Mike Ferry has helped a lot of my colleagues here in the Hoboken area. And I figured, hey, you know what, let's just see what it's all about. And then I got with Mike Ferry at the end of 18. And then I really started the system in the beginning of 19. So this would mark the first, this would be like now 3 years in. And it's been it's been great. Yeah. Well,
it's been quite the market to learn how to be a listing agent. So
nothing
like jumping
it was
into
like
the
it was
fire.
just timing. Yeah, it was just timing. I just loved, at the time when I started, it was perfect time to learn so that now we can capitalize on a market like this,
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. When you say you've been working the system since 2019, what does that mean to you? What does this system mean to you?
That's a good question. I mean, to me, it just means that you're following all the steps that are in the sales process. And what I mean by that is, diligently prospecting for business. And so one thing that I've always loved doing, even in my finance days before real estate, was that you have to be a hunter and you have to go out there and actually look for business. If you don't, and you always rely on either paid sources or something else, you're always going to be at the whims of the market. And so if it goes down, then your production goes down. But if you stay in the game 5 days a week and you're consistently generating business, what was that saying that they said, like, whenever you generate, you can, you don't have to tolerate, right? And so it's so true. And so I've always kept that.
Yeah.
And you say hunter, it's, it's an action. It's also a mindset.
Yes.
The hunter piece.
Yeah.
Can you comment on that?
I love the game. I mean, I love going out there, and I love, obviously doing what I have to do to obviously get the business. And it's fun when you start, for me, it's fun to start new conversations with people that I don't know, especially, and then also revamping like past clients and database calls that I'm just calling and just, being top of mind for them. It's always so great. And, so that's kind of like what I meant. The game is awesome for me.
That's great. Tell us a little bit about the anatomy of your lead generation time. Like, how long are you generally on the phone? Who are you calling? In what order? What scripts are you using? What tactical things could we maybe share takeaways?
Yeah. So it's always from usually 9 to 12. So it's that 3-hour window. If I can start a little bit earlier, 8:30, I'm usually in the office by like 8:15, 8 o'clock. And I do role play at 8:30, 8:45. And then I just get myself set up, and then I hit the phones at 9. And I really I commit the best of my ability. I try not to be distracted, with emails and texts and everything. I go until 12. Then from 12 to about 2, I'll either shoot a video for my social pages, or we'll do something else in terms of just like a team thing that we have to, get trained on. And then depending upon the day, I'll have appointments set up for that day, and or additional prospecting if it calls for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So within that 9 to 12 time frame, do you have like a hierarchy or I guess a checklist that you follow as far as who you call? Or
yes, actually,
what are you going after?
Yeah, well, first thing is expireds. Get them early as soon as you can. That's just tried and true. So I go to expireds, all the new FSBOs. Then I go straight to my database after that, and I start from past clients, go to Sphere, and then I go to agent referrals that I've connected with. And then from there, that takes me to about 11 o'clock or so. And then from 11 to 12, I'm either calling any internet lead sources that I'm getting from other sources there, and also a mix of just sold. And one of the things that my coach let me know about is like, wherever you can find your contact, like just go and get it. So if you need more contacts, then call multiple sources. And so I try to hit like 5 to 6 sources in a session for 3 hours.
So tell us what a just sold call means for you. What script do you use, and who do you call around? And
so it's usually the just sold calls have been huge for us. We've already closed, I think, like 5 deals that were just sold calls already this year, and that's a huge number for just one source, right? So for us, and our average price being like about 650, 700,000, it's what I've noticed for just sold is I use the Mike Ferry script, but I kind of tailored it in a way that, made sense to me. And it's just about like, the best way to do it is get into like a street or like a building or wherever the closest into proximity that you can get to that sale, the easier it is to get a deal that I found. Because I've gone like an entire town before, I've gone all different directions with that. But it seems to be like the closer to proximity to that deal, then they start listening to you more, then you ask more for more, it's just, so that's how I usually do it.
So you're going to do about 30, 40 sales just from just sold.
Our target is 25 minimum from just sold. About 2 a month is usually what we're trying to get
from
to.
that category. Okay.
Just from that category.
And you're running ahead of that. Okay, good.
Yeah. So far we're doing pretty well with that. Yeah.
Good.
That's great. And to get those 25 units closed through that, how many people do you suspect that you will need to contact to see that kind of a conversion come through?
Yeah, so I've actually done all these numbers. I'm a nerd geek as far as the numbers go, so I can talk about this all day. I'm one of those guys. Yeah, exactly. So for every 100 contacts, 1 listing should come of that I found in my market based on my skill level of how I talk, and for me doing that. And it's funny, one of my team members actually just started calling this the list around our sales, and he already had a listing appointment booked within 1 week of doing it, and that was. And that was a 100-to-1 ratio. It just seemed to work.
That's awesome.
But I also think you have to play the numbers as well. So
the 1 listing taken, which is really 1 listing sold in the market we're in.
Yeah, no kidding.
Which is really, and what's an average commission?
Average commission is about $15,000.
$15,000 divided by 100 contacts is $150 for every conversation. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
That's awesome. So you have 100 contacts to get 1 listing. Do you mind sharing with us what you consider to be sort of your target conversions, or maybe even your actuals for some of the other categories? Like how many people in your database? How many deals do you expect from that? How can you help us sort of color in the picture a little bit?
So my actual database, like true database, like the real database, is
like
about 560 people total.
Okay.
That I have personally. That doesn't include my team, obviously. And we have then, of course, another database of just like internet sources and all the other stuff, about 3,000 to 4,000 there.
A names list, if you will.
Correct. Yeah. It's just like another, database, but it's, colder. So from there, because I've been diligent with it using the Mike Ferry system, I never worked my database, by the way. I mean, that was also part of the reason I was always struggling to get to a certain level. I never called. I just waited for them to call me. That was what my approach was. And so then I've been consistent. So now 2 years later, last year we did 45 deals just from past clients.
That's awesome.
And that's like, I've never had that in my career, like ever. So it's huge, from that perspective.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are obviously delivering good service if you're getting 45 repeat or referred clients from your database. What does I'm curious if you can share with us, after you do a transaction, what is it like to be a client for life with your organization? What kind of contacting program are you following? What does that look like?
That's a really good question. Something we are consistently tweaking, like as far as like how we do it. So what we do is we do about 2 to 3 emails a month that they get hit with. I haven't direct mail campaign. I haven't done that yet, but my coach, Kevin, actually did say, when are you going to start doing that? Because I refused to do that, for so long, but I'm going to start. So then I call at least 2-3 times so I call 4 times a year. Sometimes I'll call maybe 4 to 6 times a year, depending upon how good the conversation was and how good of a referral source that they are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's awesome.
So there's more to it than that, because if your service was mediocre, but you were great at following up, it wouldn't get that far. So obviously you have a high level of service, and something in your whole process is exemplary. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, that's a very fair statement. I made it a point to make sure that my team, I have 2 staff that work on the marketing side and all the transactions and listings. And I train them to the highest level I can to get me to the point where I'm always on the phones, but they do what they have to do. And, but the service part of it is huge. And one thing that took me literally 3 years to be okay to delegate was that part of it, because I do actually care about my clients and I actually enjoy what I'm doing. So I never want them to have a bad experience. So customer service is huge in terms of the team. And so we have the support now to do this, and we have the training and I role play with my assistants now, I actually role play this out to where my whole team, everyone role plays on every situation, inspections, appraisals, you name it. And so that way the level of service, if I can't be there I can't be there all the time. So how do I duplicate that process? And that's how I did it.
Well, clearly they feel well cared for. You wouldn't have numbers like that.
That's what I like to think. Yeah.
That's great. Talk to us a little bit about how you went from buyer agent to solo. So what were your steps in getting from 0 to 60, as far as like the the structure of your team and who is helping you do it?
I probably went, so I was, when I was on the team, that was more of just like I was an agent on the team. So there really wasn't, I had support, I had direct access to all that, but I didn't really learn too much in the business. So to get me from where I was a solo practitioner in that first year to kind of figure it out, it took me at least 3 to 4 assistants to get the right one. And it wasn't like it was like overnight, and now I have Teddy, who has been lights out in terms of she has grown with me in a way, right? So she's been with me now for over 3 years, and it's a testament also. And I want also to create the environment. This is a thought that I have constantly, is that anyone on the team, that I want them to feel safe, and I want them to feel like they're in a good spot of growth also. So because what I realized on my former team, I learned so many lessons on my former team. So being on a team, actually, you can really learn from what not to do. And that's kind of where I came from. And so I'm doing everything pretty much opposite of what I learned not to do. And people stay for a long period of time, it seems like. And to me, I love that. And I've always wanted to do something like this in that way.
So what is Teddy's title in your organization?
So she's really my partner, to basically to clients and to other agents, she's my listing partner.
Okay.
Really to the team, she's a team manager, really.
I see.
She manages everybody. She checks in, holds everyone accountable. That's her role of what she does there.
So she's overseeing the sales part of the organization. Does she also oversee the operations part of the organization?
Yes. Yeah. So she does, and she's handling, the listing coordination side, the majority of the transaction management. And so there's a lot of hats that she's wearing right now. I mean, eventually we're going to get to the place where we can now hire out from there, which we do have Joey, who's our next in line to basically take over a lot of the transaction management part of it. Because I feel like the listing coordination side, that's really where, there has to be communication, right? Because if you get like 5 offers in the first week and you don't know how to handle that conversation to the seller, it can, as you know, I mean, it just, but for me to have that conversation, I really don't think I need to have that conversation anymore. I think Teddy can do it. And that's where we're training her to be. So it's all like steps in the high level hierarchy of how we do it.
So she's handling your negotiations as well?
Correct.
As far as that goes. Okay.
Yeah.
So then Teddy, you've got Joey that's backing up Teddy. And
Correct.
then what
and
do you
then
look
does
like?
all the marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then on your sales side, what do you look like?
3 agents right now. We just hired a third in December. We had a second come in part-time in the middle of last year, but it was like, it was a part-time basis, really. It wasn't like a full-on thing. And I've had Veronica, who is my head buyer's agent, really. And she's been with me since, so it's about, a little over 18 months now. So almost 2 years. Gotcha. And she works basically all my database buyers. And then my other 2 basically do all the Zillow, Realtor.com, everything else that's in the process.
Awesome. And you're handling all the listings exclusively?
Correct.
Awesome. Great deal.
Yeah.
Great deal. How do you guys work the transition? If you have been working with a client as a seller, now they're ready to buy, what does that transition look like inside your organization? How are they prepared for it? What is the script that's shared? I know that can be a break in the system a lot of times on some of the teams.
Yeah, it's more of a mindset from me, honestly. I mean, I think I struggled with the mindset of giving up the like both sides of the deal when I had the listing, right? And it's like, I learned a lot to be okay with delegation in that way, to where I'm comfortable. Like it's not even like a thought anymore. I just have the conversation like, hey, I know that we're selling the property now. So get great news. I'm going to put you in touch with my partner. That's how I always refer to everyone on my team. Mm-hmm. My partner, Veronica, to help you on the buy side. I'm going to make the connection a little bit. Is that okay? Great. Boom, done. It's very easy now to do that.
That's great. Very
and
cool.
if you run the math, because I know there's a temptation, you sell their $600,000 house and then they want to buy 4 million, and you're like, I think I'll work this one. But then you're out for 2 or 3 weeks, and you don't take 5 listings.
That's the decision I had to make as well, Ren. So like as an example, my team knows I don't work with any buyers really anymore. I'm done with that. That process is I'm out of it, and I want it to be that way.
Yeah, if you run the math, it breaks your stride, and you think you're coming out ahead, but you're not.
Long term, it doesn't pay. But in the moment, it can very well.
It can be tempting. Yeah. If you really need it, yeah.
Well, because we're doing because the market's now getting higher, and now the city here in New York City area is now growing again, where it wasn't this way 2 years ago, mind you. I mean, we went down 10, 15% where everyone else was blowing up. So we're just coming out of that, and we're actually going up this way. So we're putting a deal together. One of my past clients that we're selling his place, just like what you said as well. It's like he's buying $1 million property right now, and I could have easily just shown it one time and be done. But it's not about that. It's about like everyone has their place.
Yeah, there's a rhythm, there's a stride, there's and generally speaking, that's what kills a lot of teams. They get rolling, and then some of their listings sell, and then they have these people that have nowhere to go, and they get a little greedy, and then they stop doing what made them the money and build up the team in the first place, and then it goes back down. So we have to be real careful there. Yeah,
and we have a saying here in the group, and is we drop the E and go. So there's no ego. Just drop the E, go.
Yeah, drop the E and go. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, language is important. It sounds like you guys have kind of a vernacular inside of your organization that is sending the message to your clients and also to your team members. That's some nice longevity with those guys.
Yeah. So far, so
nicely
good.
done. It doesn't always happen that way, as Ren will tell you. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. A lot of
under the hood in a lot of these. So.
Yeah.
You got some good stuff going on. Good. So, and a lot of people like to move up where you are, and we should get them to reach out to you. What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Yeah, you could just, call me, text me, email. I mean, hit me up on a DM on Instagram if you follow us. So Dean at deanclarkgroup.com. My number 201-240-8319.
Okay, now you got to slow it down for some of us that are from the South. So
yeah, there are going to be some people in the South listening, and they're going to want to. What did he say? What did he say? Oh, he's from New York.
Okay, one more time.
So cell number 201-240-8319.
Good.
And my email is dean@deanclarkgroup.com. No E at the end of Clark.
Y'all, and then y'all, right? Something like that.
Y'all.
There's no y'all. There's where's y'all? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what are your aspirations for 2022? What is the goal for this year? And we have some unit goals from different categories. What is the overarching?
So 75 listing side sales for me and Teddy, and 50 deals from the team. So 125 total, which would represent in our market about 1.55.
Awesome.
GCI.
Nice.
Great. Very nice.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, when you think about kind of end of year 2021 to end of year 2022, and you're looking at that kind of a jump in your production, what are the 2 or 3 key areas that you, working with Teddy and your team, have said, okay, this is where we need to really up our game or make a change or buy a tool, or what are the changes you're making to guarantee that you're getting that amperage?
It's just a consistent effort. We try to do a meeting one time a month to make sure that we're covering all bases in the aspects of customer service and what can we improve upon. So it is a constant effort to talk about different ideas on that. So it's more of just brainstorming sessions that we do. And that's how we kind of usually come up with ideas, and also being connected with other great agents like throughout this organization. And, obviously using the system. I've used Vulcan 7 literally for probably at least 6-7 years, at least. So it to me is the biggest, I'll not to have a plug in here, but it's the reality is that Vulcan 7 has the best data. I've tested out in every single one. So that's why I've been using the system. But even through here and through Mike Ferry and everywhere else, I mean, you get great ideas. And so if it's a great idea, I'm one to take action as soon as possible. You don't want to wait. A lot of agents kind of sulk in it and be like, oh, is that a good idea? If it makes sense to you, just run with it, So anyway.
That's awesome. So kind of an organic growth with more of the same good stuff you've been doing.
Correct.
That's
fantastic. Awesome. That's fantastic. You got the best of all worlds going on there, and a great place to live too. Fun place. Good.
Yeah,
deal.
a lot of good culture.
Good. Anything else we should cover? Got the mindset piece down. You got the whole thing. Good. This is exciting. We really appreciate this. This is going to help a lot of people get back on track. What's that? They say if you're on the right track, but you're not moving, you're going to get run over. Something like that.
Yeah. 100%. Yes.
It's kind of depressing, but okay. and accurate. So
anyway, good.
One piece of advice you'd give to an agent starting out, newly minted, as so many are right now, what would be your signature sign-off piece of advice for license number 2022?
Stop overthinking it. Stay consistent.
Well
good.
Said.
Good. I love it. Love that.
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, we appreciate it.
Cool.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you everybody for being here. We'll see everybody next
Pleasure
week.
to meet you. Thanks for your time. Ren, thank you for letting me be here.
And thank you for being here. And thank you, Dean, so much.
You got it. Take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.